some hard-hitting investigative reporting from our own, Takoma Parks, like our own Mike Wallace and Tucker Carlson rolled into one. The one, the only, the irrepressible Eric Saul. Eric Saul. Eric, are you there, please?
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, always a pleasure having you on, and hope you're doing well.
I'm doing really well. It's kind of been a good news, bad news week. So
yeah?
what do you want first? Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Surprise me.
All right, well, let's start with the good news. We were on the Kojo Nambi show a couple weeks ago.
I call you.
It was really shocking. I mean, here we are in a town of amazingly brilliant policy nerds, way smarter than me. And somehow they chose me, a guy peddling fake journalism, to take up 20 minutes of airtime. So that was kind of cool.
How long was it before Kojo realized that it was the wrong Eric Saul that he booked? Did you get to do the whole interview?
I mean, I played it off as the right Eric Saul, so who knows?
I was really impressed. I got to say, no one's a prophet in their, in their own land, and I think I've come to take you for granted. And then I heard you on Kojo, and then I realized why. But no, I thought you did a great job, and I think.
Thanks. Yeah.
We're proud of you. The Torch is proud of you. Takoma Radio is proud of you. So, upwards and onwards. Like, that was really cool. And
it all started with you and your show. I think you were the first person to let me speak live on the air ever.
Yeah, and I got in trouble for it, but still, I stand by it. Well, no, it was really good. It was excellent, and it must have been a lot of fun, and it was kind of cool because, Kojo, you could be like talking with Jimmy Raskin one day, and another day kind of like an undersecretary of the UN, and whatever, and then it was you. So I got to tip my hat.
I mean, I'm pretty. I guess I should run for office or something next. I mean,
yeah. Well, come on. Yeah, I'll be like one of your toadies, the kind of the advanced guy or something like that. Just give me an expense account and I'll handle the rest. But who knows what's in your future, Eric? This is big stuff. But I just wanted to say I'd like to continue a bit in the Trump tradition of finding kind of mildly insulting nicknames for our contributors. And I was thinking like Arky E. You're an architect, right? You dig it?
Yeah.
Is that I don't I want it not to be I don't want it to be mean, but I think it was like breaking news like an architect thing or something, right? But do you really think there's going to be a big flood again? Like we're going to need arcs and stuff, or what? That's what you guys do, right? You build arcs for the animals and things.
Oh yeah, that's the word. The Greek or Latin root of architect is to build an ark, something like that. That's what my Bible says.
Must be interesting.
I mean, I like Arky. It's smooth. It gives me some street cred.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's a lot better than the nicknames contractors give me, like moron, idiot. I've got worse names, but I hear this is a family show. You probably don't want to hear those names.
Yeah. Well, the kids are usually shuttled out of the room as soon as they hear the opening credits. But yeah, okay. So Arky E, you're cool with that?
Yeah, the arc thing is interesting. We all believe that climate change is real, and there's going to be a giant flood. So we do have to, prepare for that. And I mean, that's why you're seeing architects and urban planners, working on high-rise buildings like the Jetsons. We insist that every building in Takoma Park be at least 2 stories tall.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Very important.
Okay. And the stilts thing, I know that Jetson thing, I never really but it's like those things are supposed to be out in the kind of exosphere or the stratosphere, or they seem very, very high. Yeah.
I don't believe in spheres. The world is obviously flat, but yeah, True. Something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Okay, this is the 2 stories or higher in Takoma Park and counting. But are you ready? I just wanted to kind of run through some of the breaking stories that you guys have been working on the Torch and
Sure.
elsewhere, and and anything you want to kind of tune us into that my research team has maybe failed to alert me to. But I think is it time to think big about those small lending libraries? Isn't it like we've been there, done that? Aren't
little free libraries.
Yeah. Like libraries, there's such socialist kind of hangovers and out of step with the times. Shouldn't we be thinking more entrepreneurial capitalistically, like, about these small lending things like PayPal, Bitcoin, Horn and Hardart kind of stuff? Like, what's your take on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a capitalist country. We have a free market system. So, we have to stop this whole feeling like we should be peddling free stuff all the time. I mean, libraries in general are pushing a socialist reading agenda.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, we all know reading works best.
Right.
Yeah, we all know reading works best when people compete for books in a free market system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just whatever the guy's name is, Adam Payne. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he wrote it a long time ago, and we should read his book, whatever it's called.
Grandma's Hand, I think it's called, right?
The invisible hand of that turns the page when you read a book.
Yeah, the smell of nations.
Turn the pages for yourself. Right. Why do we have to turn around pages?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, this idea of free lending that we do with these very minor late fees, it doesn't work. And libraries don't make any money, and then they fail, and then we have to bail them out.
Again and again.
What they need to do, so here's the plan. In a true free market system, we would charge per book with a full-on bid war for the most popular books. So like in Takoma Park, for example, we could see a bid war as high as $25,000 to get a copy of White Fragility. So that would go really well to fund, what better way to support authors than to actually pay their fair royalties, And so, just big library. I'm tired of big library taking all the money for themselves.
Right, based on demand, you're saying, my copy of White Fragility, I don't know, third copy's been stolen from my night table. Like what's with that? Cat burglars?
Exactly.
Right? So, well, what about any thought, I was just kind of, sort of rolling this through my mind. What about like other kinds of lending possibilities, like gently used masks, say, or stick deodorant rolls that aren't fully done? Like, put them in the little things like they're not really gone, say unread junk mail. Like, is there a market for those things, say, in the free lending?
Yeah, there's a huge... Yeah. I mean, Takoma Park is known for, its economy is a lending economy. And there's, that group recently divided into 3 groups, which was once one. The Buy Nothing group, which means they don't pay the property tax either. But I think the lending economy should exist for everything. Like, for example, I go to a restaurant and sometimes I don't eat my whole meal. So why can't I offer the rest of my food at a discount to the next person who wants my table? So
common sense, right?
I mean, I'm not going to eat all these chips and salsa at El Golfo. Why can't I just pay? Why can't the next guy say, hey, give me like $20 or whatever? We'll work something out. Free market system, right?
Right.
Give me an offer for the rest of my chips and salsa, and we don't waste any food.
And you can make it. You could do like some bidding, right? It doesn't have to be just the next person. It could be among the next people waiting, right? So that like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it'd be like Uber. You know how they have that? What do they call that? The tolls get higher on high peak demand. So when the restaurant's backed up and there's a long line waiting to get in, I'm sure someone who's like, got a 45-minute wait to grab their table is willing to pay a lot of money for those chips and salsa.
Yeah, and anything else you got on the table, right? So, okay, well, it makes sense to me. City Council, we got to bring this up at the next meeting, or can we just sort of do a grassroots, start selling your chips and salsa and go from there? What do you think?
I like it. We need to be pro small business, and that's a small business.
Yeah, it's a very small business, right? It's just like your stock is what's left in the basket on your table, and and if you play your cards right, you can get it filled right before you're actually able to get up, right? So probably then commanding a higher price. So, well, hey, moving on, because there's a lot we wanted to cover here. The Pizzagate guy, right?
Oh yeah.
He was released recently without much fanfare, right? And I don't know, patriot, hero, I don't use those words lightly, but, it reminds me, though, of the cold reception that the vets got, coming home from every war, say, post, World War II. Inexcusable, right? Like, this guy ignored, he self-investigated, put himself on the line and make sure, what was going on at Comet Ping Pong?
I mean, from what I understand, Danny, is he was clearly defending his right to bear arms. And the Second Amendment gives you that right.
Yeah. Right.
And he was just trying to protect children. Not just the Second Amendment, but the Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable search or seizure.
Yeah.
However, so basically he needed probable cause, and that came in the form of he saw a pizza parlor employee trying to put pineapple on a pizza, which is a true crime, and that then gave him the probable cause to search the basement for a Democratic pedophile ring. So, you can't be one-sided on your views, Danny. I mean, this is very clear cut. The Supreme Court, I'm sure, will, get this guy a break here.
Yeah. Well, you're preaching to the choir here. Pineapple on pizza? I don't think so. Like there's, I don't know. It's a cry for help, if you ask me. And I don't know. And it seems like it's happening more and more. And luckily, some people are standing up against that. So, this story to be continued, no doubt, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Well, moving on, the electric buses, right? This big. Several hours ago, I saw this breaking news on Bloomberg. Came over on my teletype, and shock hazard. I mean, seriously, who's going to get on one of these things when it's raining? Leave it to these green news schlemiels, right? It's not the time, nor the place for. It's never the time or place for a bad idea. What do you say? These electric buses?
Yeah, and that price tag of $169 million. I mean, talk about that's shocking. If you want to talk about shocking, wow. I mean, think of all the kombucha that could buy. I mean, actually, here's a good idea. Why don't we just run buses off kombucha?
Yeah.
I mean, it's locally sourced fuel here in Takoma Park. So, $169 million. I think our city budget is $30 million. So this would what?
We could buy a bus.
6 times, 7 times, 8 times our whole budget. We could fund the whole city.
Wow.
Yeah. 5G for all.
Hey, wait, would you have would there be kombucha filling stations? Would there be private home tanks? How? I don't know. What's your vision? You're the architect here. What's your grand plan here? How do we get kombucha from there to here inside my tank?
Yeah, I think we have to tear up Flower Avenue again and run more underground kombucha gas lines. So, street closures all over the city, I think that's appropriate. But, people will be angry for about 10 years until it gets implemented. And then 10 years from now, when they can finally drive on their roads, we'll have kombucha. And then maybe we'll be on to the next thing. Who knows? And they'll have to tear up the street again for the next fossil fuel or non-fossil fuel.
Right. Well, you want to make an omelet, right? If you want to run these kombucha buses, it's an idea at time, and the probiotics, right? I imagine that part of the exhaust will be probiotics that could in fact kind of help us all, right? Gut health is the secret to everything. So
that's a lot of power right there.
Yeah, it is. And imagine the opportunities for fracking. So. Anyhow, moving on. This one personally gets me where it hurts. The furor about Biden's dog, right?
Yes.
Is this a hangover of the German Shepherd, anti-German sentiment, or do the Republicans might have a point here? Some people are saying that tan, is that a socialist dog whistle, or is tan, heaven knows, the new light brown? I don't know. What's your take? Well,
we clearly live in a black and white world, and there are no shades of gray, and tan, I would say, is a taupe shade of gray. Look, Obama did this, in 2014. He showed up to a press conference wearing a very unpresidential tan suit. I mean, who does that other than Reagan and Clinton?
Right.
And
it was a travesty.
We ignore that. Yeah, it was a travesty, only for Obama, though. So, I mean, come on. He looked like a Werther's Original candy. It was silly. So Biden, here we have Biden's dog. I mean, he's so out of touch with everyday Americans. And, come on, clearly this dog is a German Shepherd, but he's not ready to lead or sit or stay or speak. But, the tan coat sends a message to the world, especially our enemies who are watching, by the way, that he'll just roll over on his belly in submission when, he gets faced with adversity. So that's just not a true American dog.
Right. And probably, and is he going to be sniffing the butt of every world leader who,
Of course.
Yeah. Hey, the writing is on the wall.
And we have footage of that. Yeah, we have footage of that. That will be released. Exactly.
Oh, really?
It's a travesty.
Yeah. Well, we all have to tip our hat for you guys doing the hard work here, because most news sources would ignore something like that, and you guys are kind of putting it front and center, and nobody else is.
We are sniffing the butt of journalism, Danny.
Yeah, and licking the wells, say, of from which the font of truth comes. We should probably leave it there. But anyhow, there's dog parks, right? Like, don't get me started. Like, where are the parks for guinea pigs, hamsters, right? Forget.
Good point. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's not mention cats. Like, they hate everybody, but does that deny them the right to have their own park, so they can be unflinchingly indifferent to that? You know, like. I don't know. If not a park that most of them loathe, because most of them hate being outside. But how about like a cat house? Why not that? Can't we have a cat house here in Takoma Park?
Cat house? Wait, this is a family show, right? I mean.
No, but I mean an indoor sort of play park for cats.
Oh, that kind of cat house.
Yeah, so they can loathe it. Right.
I was thinking the other kind of cat house.
Okay, get your mind out of the gutter, please.
Yeah. This is a family show. Yeah.
Well, and we deal with real issues. Okay, so.
I mean. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I agree. First of all, we need a rooster park. The city's symbol is a rooster, and we don't even have a park for roosters. I mean, we're talking a great big cock park, or they'll go next to the cat house, I guess. And we can have that front and center in the middle of pick one of these 20 different parks we have. I don't know how many parks does Takoma Park have. I mean, it's called Takoma Park. So.
Yeah. But these are like glaring absences, and you're the guy I think to take it in hand and sort of go forward. So
if we're really going to be champions of equity, then we need to do that for all living creatures. I agree.
Right. Yeah, the inequality I think is staggering, and in our backyard. But I know you got your finger on the pulse of all things Takoma Park. How close do we come, maybe even every day, to like insurrection? Food co-op parking lot. I don't know the pesky sort of parking meters that don't take coins. Like what's the word on the street on that?
Yeah, tensions are building. Luckily, we have a much better intel. And so, I don't know if we have better intel or the people who try to start insurrections are just obvious because they go on listservs and publicly announce their anger.
Yeah.
So, but our police are much better than the DC Park police, and so they're able to, they have better calming, methods to prevent these things. It's not just what you do when the insurrection happens; it's what you do to prevent the anger, the buildup. And so, our police are very nice. Instead of bullets, they spray water. It looks like cats, right?
Yeah. Cats hate it. Yeah.
A good spray to the face will just calm anybody down. So we take preventative measures and do that. But we almost had an insurrection. I don't know if you know this.
No.
But it wasn't on the Takoma Park side. It was on the DC side. So
obviously,
like
life is pretty cheap for that kind, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. What happened was thousands of very hungry, blood sugar was off something. Vegans causing insurrections in a new donut shop on the DC side.
Really?
Yeah, just demanding donuts, and you can't even get a donut before you got to get in line by 7 a.m. to get a donut. They're sold out. So every morning there's an insurrection at that donut shop.
Really? Is that like an example of like forced scarcity or something? Is like I don't know. I read, it's one of those, like the Pinker, Stinker, one of those guys with the frizzy hair. Is that is that what they're talking about? Like, is that the grandma's hand of the free market, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, when you can't, when they're building solar panels on ag reserves and taking away your carrots, you got to go get vegan donuts instead to get your vegetables. I haven't gotten there early enough to actually get one, but I'm planning on it one of these days, and from what I hear, it's worth it. Like people are pretty excited about the vegan donuts. I must say I've yet to try one, but the word on the street is that they are delicious. Yeah.
Well, I think I think Montgomery County, I'm not sure if the state does, but Montgomery County has a sign-up website for those donuts. But you got to get on it like kind of the first thing in the morning, and then maybe there's like a little window. And then there's always required, you got to be over 65, pre-existing condition, you
have to be in group 1A or 1B.
Yeah, like it's
get
like
line for the donut.
You don't just show up and get a donut, okay? Is that too hard to understand, right? Like that this is, there's a war on here, people. right? And then like
Yeah,
we're not handing out coffee and donuts to like any soldier, right? So
yeah, they got to get big.
Yeah.
You know, these big companies to start manufacturing more donuts, like more millions of doses per day of donuts.
Yeah.
They can't keep up. So we're in a big deficit here, and it's the problem.
Well, and the problem is donuts have to be maintained in freezers of absolute zero, which is I guess a little bit of a kind of a marketing thing, snag that they got to work around. But I don't know. I hear the best minds are on it, and hopefully.
And you have to get 2 doses. So you can't just have one donut. You have to go back and get the second donut. And so that's what I hear.
And you can't like just take one donut and split it and like take have one and then have the other one like 3 or 4 weeks later. Like it's got to be 2 intact separate donuts. Is that the
2 back to back? Yeah. And I think it goes down better with some coffee or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it makes perfect sense to me. Well, last question here. This Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, you guys did some reporting on.
Yeah.
That she showed up at the Parkway Deli and made a kind of a scene of that forbidding the use of Jewish space lasers to toast bagels. Hard-hitting reporting. Hats off to you guys. But isn't that like a bit of a cheap shot? Eric, our research team did a little bit of digging. And we discovered that Jewish space lasers are unequivocally against commercial food outlet code in Silver Spring. Now, but I'm not sure. Is that what your people have found?
Yeah, the health department is very clear in that you cannot use a Jewish space laser to warm donuts. I'm sorry, to toast bagels or warm donuts.
Really? Okay.
And it can, however, be used to clear the snow in front of sidewalks in the winter.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, they're made for some legitimate cause, right? But
it just can't touch food.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I want to give you a little bit of a scoop. I don't really have the people on the street to do this, but some there's a little bit of buzz, and that some very smart people have been telling me that Mark's Kitchen, they're saying that they're using the basement of Mark's Kitchen to train Chihuahuas to dance on 2 legs with those little sombreros on to mariachi music. Are you guys on that? Is that?
We are not on that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I can't confirm it. I can't confirm or deny, but it smells of credibility to me. It's just like I don't know. You pass Mark's Kitchen and you hear the mariachi band sometimes, and you say, "What is that?" And they say, "What is what?" So I think it's like a whole little gaslighting thing going on. But can you get your guys on that? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's certainly an interesting lead we'll consider. We do have several stories in the works that we're working on.
Oh yeah, well, bring us up to date.
One I'm really excited about. The city is getting ready to select a new city manager, and that's big news because our previous city manager was there for a long time and she worked in our city for 30 years. So she's retiring. And, the city manager, people don't know this, is way more important than any other position. I mean, it's the highest paid, most important person of a small city like Takoma Park. The mayor is not what people always assume that the mayor is sort of like running the city. The city manager runs the city. So this is like the most important position. And it's a good salary. But people in the city think that we're spending too much money, about $25,000 in efforts to find the next city manager. But people don't realize, that $25,000, they got to fly 6 city council members and the mayor to the Vatican.
Really? Oh, wow.
You heard of conclave, right?
Yeah, conclave, of course. Yeah, I'm a Catholic. I'm a good Catholic.
Yeah, this is Enclave 2021.
Jeez.
And so our liberal enclave of Takoma Park is going to be going to the Vatican, Sistine Chapel. They're going to lock themselves in a room or smoke pot. If black smoke comes out, it means they've chosen the next city manager.
Or that they've just been smoking skunk weed, right?
Well, that's there's white smoke. Sorry, is it white smoke or black smoke?
White smoke is that the city manager has been chosen. And
I got it wrong. Yeah, the black smoke is just they're just having a good time.
The skunk. Yeah. Right. Wow.
So some of the efforts are about look, that's a lot of money. Why can't we just get the Scooby-Doo mobile that's on Ritchie Avenue? just put them all in there, and they can smoke whatever they want. And if if white smoke comes out of the van, then we have a city manager. That's just
right.
effective.
And then the town erupts, right? And kind of and jubilant and and kind of joyous noise that we have the city manager for the next 50 years, right? Like they serve 50-year terms,
yeah,
I think, right?
Some people call it a joy. Some say it's a moan. Some says a groan, like a whine. It just depends on what your perception is and where in the city you are. But yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Well, there was a question here from an astute listener about the insurrection business here, and you say like, I don't know, it's quite poetic. He's saying like, you're saying that it's an insurrection, but and then you tell me it's a Cuvolution, but do you want to change the world, or is it going to be all right, Eric?
I think a little bit of both. I think we want to change the world, and we're going to be all right.
Calming words from someone who knows better than the rest of us, because you got your finger on the pulse of what's going on here in in the People's Republic. And any other breaking news, things that you're working on that you can give us a little sniff of. I know it hasn't come to press time yet, but anything we should kind of keep our eyes open on the torch for.
Yeah, in national news, we have the Supreme Court basically opened the doors for Trump to have to release his tax returns. So that's big news after 5 years of fighting over that.
Yeah.
And so Trump's now nervous. He might be going to jail or prison. I'm sure there's other people involved. He might go to prison.
Yeah.
But Trump can't do anything now. He's no longer president. He can't, get people out of jail. So
yeah.
He's suffering. He's clearly suffering from post-pardon depression. He's in this stage where he's just, it's common. A lot of presidents, when they leave office, they're sad for a few days. It's common.
Right.
But his is a more severe form of depression. And it includes mood swings, crying spells, Twitter rants, and trying not to grab his pants. He has to wear a diaper now.
Yeah.
And fear that he might go to prison. So, keep the president in your prayers.
Yeah, and my thought, and hopefully he gets his beach bod back. I think it's like serving 4 years in the White House with unlimited access to Big Macs and a whole thing. He took a hit for the country, right? And maybe we owe him something back.
Yeah, he wore on the hips for us.
He did. All right. Well, and so you did Kojo Nambi. You're on the moon tonight. What? 60 Minutes coming up, or I don't know.
I got Jimmy Kimmel bugging me. I keep telling Jimmy, "Come on, man! Like I don't have time for you." But I might do him a favor.
Right. Yeah. Well, you want me to put the? I'll just tell him to chill. All right. Like you're a busy man. You'll get to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let him.
I got to do Walking on the Moon first.
Yeah.
And then he can.
He understands. He gets it. Right. Right. Well, Eric, it's always a pleasure that I don't know, hard-hitting journalism, from the source, for the rest of us. So you think about these things so we don't have to, and we ain't forgetting, Eric. We're grateful. And
thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And I got to say, I really loved the Bobby Bayshore bit before. He fantastic guy. I can't wait to see him again.
Yeah.
COVID's over. We can all be in a room and act stupid together.
Right. He's my favorite troubled soul, I guess is right. But thanks so much, man. And stay safe. And we'll see you on the other side. All right.
You too. Take care.
All right. Take care. That's
all right.
The Takoma Torch is Eric Saul joining us, and I don't know. Let's take a trip down to Jamaica, not Queens, somewhere else.